Good morning from the Flanagan Homestead in East Fork Christmas Tree Farms. We're going to talk a little bit more about shearing. I looked at the video I made just a couple days ago on shearing, and there's a lot of things that I wanted to put in there, but some things I think I need to clarify, and maybe a couple things to add. We did show you in that video us shearing this noble right here that is about 8 feet tall. Just to be clear, we always shear our grand firs and our Doug firs with the blade all the way up to the top, or 95–99% of the time we'll shear those no matter what height they are, and they like that tighter, fuller look. On the nobles we don't always do that, so I showed you shearing this 8-foot tall noble, and it makes a nice tight look, and some people really prefer that. But quite often on the nobles you don't want to shear all the way to the harvestable height. You'll shear the prior year to sales, and then you'll just clip. And so we're going to show you that today. So a lot of times you'll shear the shape up to 5 or 6 feet tall. If you want to have a 7-foot tree, you'll shear that, and then the next year hopefully you won't shear, and then the new growth hopefully won't stick out too far, but it'll be a sheared look with a little bit more open ends, and we'll leave some trees like that. And we're going to show you that on these trees right next to it today, and show you how you might want to do that. So I didn't make that clear. I made it sound like we sheared every tree all the way to the top every year. And so nobles and Nordmans, a lot of times it's nice to not shear that last year when you think you're going to harvest them. This year we're probably going to shear a lot of taller nobles, just because, well, you could probably still see it here. This is the year of the record heat, and we have a lot of sunburn and brown needles on the outside. So by shearing a little bit more this year and taller trees this year, we're going to take off some of that dead that's on the very outside. So that's part of the process. It's a little bit different every year, but for the most part it's the same. One more thing, if you could, I've had several different farmers comment, like guys from Ireland and the South and the East and everything, and they said, hey, this is what I'm doing and I have this many trees. I love to hear from different farmers and where you're from, how many trees you're growing, what type of trees you're growing. You know, some of you are talking about trees that I've never heard of because you're in a different area of the country. And so if you leave comments of where you're at, I love interacting with Christmas tree farmers, guys that are getting out there doing the work and producing stuff to create a great holiday season. Okay, so we've showed you how to shear with a knife, and we've been doing tops, but again, we're a U-cut Christmas tree farm, and different people like different things. I took a blade or a knife to this tree and showed you how to do it, and we brought this in, and it's a nice full tree, and we've got nice straight lines, and some people are going to really prefer this. This one we haven't taken a knife to, and it's not quite as full, but some people are going to enjoy this. Instead of taking a knife to it and making completely straight edges, this didn't have huge growth, so we really don't need to shear, but the growth that's out here is nice. There might be a few little tips that we want to take off, but just leaving, once it gets to the height that you want to harvest, instead of shearing it all back like the tree behind me, you leave a little bit of longer tips, creates places for hanging heavier ornaments on, or larger ornaments on, and a lot of people like this look. I personally like a little bit of space myself, whereas we sheared this one really tight. Some people are going to like that. If we leave this open and just take a few of the long tips that are just kind of out of the general design. So instead of straight lines like this, we got lines with tips slightly out it, but keeping that same angled look. Okay, to clean up this tree that we were just talking about, I'm going to do it with just the pruners. The top whorl has stuff just a little too far out. I'm going to bring those in just a hair, and I'm going to clean this up. This is growing up, and so you don't want to leave the cut exposed for the customers to look at. So what I'm going to do, this little knob here, I'm going to reach back in here. I'm going to keep this horizontal branch that's facing out back, and I'm going to slide my pruners in right above that and cut at an angle, so this big bush that's creating a knot in there is coming out, but we still have the branches pointing out here. And we'll continue to look for space. This one that comes up a little bit too much or back in, these are coming out as well, but we're leaving these horizontal branches that are pointing out. Makes the tree look good. Okay, we're still a little thick here. this stuff is growing up here. I'm going to grab this knob back in here. What else we got? We got this growing back in. You don't want branches growing back into the tree. We got overlapping there. I need just a little bit more out here. So I'm going to find this. Feels like it's taking a lot out, but it leaves a more even space up there. Okay, one more thing while we're talking shearing Christmas trees. Obviously you want to try to get number ones by industry standard, as many number ones as you can. But we're a U-cut Christmas tree farm, and one of the things that we've come to realize is different people like different things. So some people want a tall skinny tree, some people want a short fat tree, some people want branches in every square inch, some people want big open spaces. And way back when we first started selling, there's a few trees out in the field that we thought we're just going to have to cull these out. Just take a chainsaw to them, cut them down, throw them on a fire. And we were getting ready to hire our crew to, you know, cut out these trees and just throw them on a fire. But we hadn't done that yet, and people came and bought them. I remember one person coming up, you know, we cut the trees down for our customers, and I personally was cutting a tree, and the lady said, I want this tree, and she's pointing it in a direction over here. So I was assuming she meant the beautiful noble that was right behind this little tiny tree that was scraggly. And I said, so you want this one? She goes, no, I want this one over here. And I said, oh, and she saw the startled look on my face, and I was like, you know, we were gonna just throw that one away. I said, we'll give this to you half price. She said, no, I'm going to pay full price. I love my tree. So yes, you do want to try to get number one by industry standards and get as many as you can, but just realize different people like different things. And if a tree has a natural look that's a little bit different shape, but, you know, somewhat symmetrical, or, you know, has something that's appealing, grow it. Manicure it to go with that look that it has. And if you have as many, you know, if you have over 1,000 people coming out or whatever, someone's going to like it. And so just go with it and make it look as good as it can with the type of look that it has, and sell it to someone. Don't cut it out and throw it on the fire. When looking at the tops of the Christmas tree and the leader, and trying to choose where to cut it, this tree has many, many good buds that we're happy about. When we've taken classes years ago from the Christmas Tree Association, they always said that the little tiny nubs buds, as opposed to the ones that were sticking out wider, these little nubs would grow up straighter. That's how we were taught. To be honest, we have not seen evidence that that is actually true. I'm not going to say it's not. I'm just telling you the Christmas Tree Association trainers said this will grow up straighter than this. This is straight. These would not be, but we have not seen evidence in our field of that. So when Barry and I are shearing Christmas trees and then cutting tops, we just find the bud that's in the right placement and use that one. Here's something I don't know if we showed on the previous shearing video or not. This is a really tall tree, almost 10 feet tall. We can't let it grow much taller, and there's no top up here that's any good at all. And so they're growing out so wide, the tree knows it needs to get a new start. So it set some buds, I don't know if you can see it in here, really tight to the trunk of the tree. So I'm going to cut out all the leaders that it has setting out the side. They're really stiff and they're really wide. They're not going to work. I'm going to cut them back to just a couple inches. Hard to hold the camera and do this, but that's going to force these buds inside here to grow and grow straight up, and we're going to get a leader out of that, and it's going to slow down the growth of this tree. Another tool we like to use on the farm is a hedge trimmer on a stick. I do have another section, about a 3-foot section I can add to this if I need to extend it further. That's usually not necessary, but this is really good for doing these super tall trees. Our nobles don't get that tall anymore. We sell them out sooner than that, but our grand firs tend to get that tall. So it would be really hard to swing a blade. I can swing a blade on a tree really well up to about 9 feet tall. I can reach about 8 feet and then the knife extends up there. But anything taller than that, you're jumping, trying to hit, and it's not very accurate. So this is really good. I can extend up and cut the tree. The other thing is sometimes when they're getting that tall, if you keep that 45 degree angle, if it started wider, and now the tree, if it's 12 feet tall, is going to be 10 feet wide, and most people can't put that in their house. So you got to start bringing it back in, tightening the angle a little bit, and sometimes you'll hit last year's growth, which is now woody, and the blade isn't going to go through that, but a motorized hedge trimmer can get through it. This is a beautiful tool for another reason. You can lock it in at different angles, so if there's a bunch of tall trees and it's hard to work around, I can change the angle of the tree, of the blade, and work around the tree and get in on it. This tool does get very tiresome. Anybody that's new on my crew tends to think, hey, let me try that. That looks fun. And then they use it for 15, 20 minutes and they say, hey, you know what, you take this back, I'll swing the knife. So it does allow reach and it does cut through woody stuff, but it takes a little bit of extra oomph to keep it going. This type of tree, this is a noble, is becoming more and more popular, where it's not filled in quite so full. We're going to be looking for more different seed sources that will grow this way and not fertilize quite as fully. But this tree has more open layers between branches, and then instead of shearing just straight lines, we'll have tips sticking out here and there. And this was more popular when I was growing up, and then the sheared fuller nobles became more popular, and these are starting to come back in. And so being a U-cut, we need to have a variety. We need to have some of these, and we need to have some of the sheared tight trees as well. So once again, thanks for joining me on the Flanagan Homestead, where Christmas trees are my business, teaching, including horticulture, is my job, and outdoor projects are my passion. If you would like, subscribe, share, that'd be great, and comments from other Christmas tree farmers are always appreciated. I love looking at them. Hope to see you again soon.